Always double check. Great. Thank you everyone for joining the She is Hope LA 12-week curriculum. We are almost done with this session. We'll end on June 5th. And today is the amazing, the talented Tiffany Phillips. She is an actress, producer, singer, comedian, and content creator. She started in the New York theater and she's been on TV shows including Scandal and Teen Wolf. She was the lead background singer for Michael Bolton's World Tour. She wrote Never Met a Jerk I Didn't Like and started the web series Ethnically Ambiguous. And now her latest venture is a self deprecated podcast. She is a woman of many talents. She's one of our regular speakers, and I'm so thrilled to have her be a part of She is Hope LA. She's been such a wonderful supporter. Please take it away, Tiffany.
Aw, thank you, Tisha. And I just want to say I'm so grateful to be here and so happy to see all of you. And I also want to say a happy Mother's Day weekend to all of you moms out there. What you do should be rewarded and celebrated. I am not a mother myself. I was raised by a single mother, and she was my everything. And I saw how hard she worked to keep us, you know, food on the table. And we're the people that we are today. My brothers and I, she raised me and my two older brothers on her own. And I just have so much gratitude for her and for all the mothers out there, and just to be here and for this organization. So Tisha, thank you for starting this organization. I hopped on board because this was in support of single mothers. And it was one of those things that I wished had been around when I was a kid and my mom was raising us, because she could have used this support. She still did it. She was a superwoman. But I just think it's really beautiful what you're doing, Tisha. So yes, like Tisha said, I am an
Amen.
actress. Amen, Michael. Yes, I'm an actress.
Yeah.
I'm a singer. I am a writer, a content creator. All those things. I just feel very uncomfortable talking about myself. But we're going to talk about owning it right now. And this owning it, this whole topic came up for me because it is something I will readily admit, struggled with most of my life. Owning my identity, owning who I was. And it started out when I was a little girl, around 3 years old, when my parents divorced and my mom became a single mother, raising my brothers and I. And she was in the Air Force, and we ended up in a place called Apple Valley, California. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Apple Valley, California, but
Yes.
okay, thank you, Michael. So it's a little rednecky. I'm just going to put that out there, okay? And so here I was, me and my brothers, we're these light-skinned Black kids where they don't really know what we are. My brother Eric has these blue eyes. He looks pretty much white, but he had an afro. And then there's me. They never knew what I was. And I feel like in life, you need a tribe. You need, somewhere to fit in, whether it's at work or in life. And I felt like I didn't have a tribe. I didn't really fit in with the white kids. I didn't really fit in with the Black kids. I was always struggling with my identity and who I was in this world. And that was the inspiration for starting this book. So I'm giving you guys a sneak peek into this book called Own It, No Approval Needed, because this is something that I have been striving for. And I believe that I'm just about there. We're all a work in progress. And I just want to share some things with you that I've learned along the way in my journey. So like, if we start talking about the beginning. Now, as soon as we come into this world, we're told who we're supposed to be. You're given a name, a sex. You're either a boy or a girl. If you're a boy, you wear blue. Girls wear pink. Oh, you're given a religion, whatever your parents are, a set of values. And these are all developed before we're even a fully formed human. And when you grow up, then you have new identities. Now you're a mom, you're a wife, or a lawyer, an accountant, a homemaker, and this is who you are. So when I was born, the one thing that was fully formed was my voice. So my mom used to tell me that when I was born, I was the loudest baby in the nursery. And the doctor who delivered me literally said, "Wow, she's got some lungs on her. She's going to be an opera singer." Dead serious. It wasn't too far off. And I guess what I would cry they would run down the hallway with me. Baby Phillips is crying. Baby Phillips is crying, because my cry would wake up the entire nursery, all the babies. My mom would say, well, just, let her cry. Oh, no. But when Tiffany cries, the whole nursery wakes up. And so growing up, I remember I would be talking to people, whether it's my family and whoever, they'd say things like, well, yeah, we're right here, Tiffany. You don't have to yell. To which I'd reply, well, I wasn't yelling, I was just talking. So I've never had a problem projecting my voice. So here I am, I have this big voice, and I'm told that, bring it down. Ooh, you're a little loud, Tiffany. So then cut to, I'm 5 years old, and I'm standing with all these kids. We're getting ready for our classroom group photo. I remember this vividly too. I was so excited. And when I smiled for the camera, it was like I would smile so hard. So I remember they took the first shot, and this little girl standing next to me goes, "Stop smiling so hard." And that hit me as a 5-year-old. And I literally stopped smiling. I went, and then in the picture, I look like a deer in the headlights. I think I remember the picture. I was like, because, I didn't want to offend her or upset her with my smile. Cut to junior high, where I would be walking down the hallway and then have some mean girl come up to me saying, you smile too much. As if smiling and being happy gave them carte blanche to bully me. It was like, oh yeah, who do you think you are? All smiling and being happy and shit. Can I cuss, guys? Is that okay? Okay, I'm gonna cuss a little bit. I think we're all adults here. So looking back in retrospect, clearly these kids were miserable. Who knows what was going on in their home life and why they felt the need to squash my joy. And they succeeded in doing so too many times to count. So I shrank. In my mind, all I kept thinking was, here I go offending people again for being too loud, too smiley, too Tiffany, and I shrank. So the realization that happened was when my dad came to visit me, and he would come pick me up from school. And I used to love it when my dad would come visit. And I think I was about 13 or 14 years old. I was in junior high at the time. And so he sees me standing there talking to my friends, and I was literally hunching over as I was talking to them. And he could tell I was doing everything in my power not to be taller than them. And I was shrinking because I felt like that was how I would be accepted. I wanted to be liked. I didn't notice that he was there watching me until I hear him go, Tiffany. And I turn around and, oh, there's my dad. So excited. And I instantly stood up straight, and I ran to him, jumped into his arms, gave him this big bear hug. And my dad was a military man. He had a lot of dignity and grit. And he said to me, why were you standing like that when you're talking to your friends? Yeah, I had no idea what he was talking about. I didn't even realize I was standing like that. So I said, what do you mean? Standing like what? And so he does this like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh impression, like this. I did not look like that, Dad. He's like, yeah, you did, Tiff. I know what I saw. And listen, don't you ever shrink for anyone. You hear me? You stand up tall. I don't care if you're the tallest kid in class. You don't shrink. You be proud of who you are. There's only one you, Tiff. And so that hit me hard. It was like a wake-up call for me. First of all, because I'm not trying to look like Eeyore. Second, why was I shrinking? Who cares if I'm taller than the other kids? I mean, Megan in fifth period geometry has bigger boobs than anyone else in the seventh grade, and she's certainly not trying to hide that. So why should I hide my height? Of course, at that time, I wish I had the bigger boobs, but that didn't come till later. They're humongous now. Not just kidding. So what I've noticed throughout my life is that those things about me that seem to offend people are some of my greatest gifts. Now, keep in mind, critical comments are critically important gifts. Others' criticism is a reflection of their own lack. Let that sink in. Others' criticism is a reflection of their own lack. It has nothing to do with you. So my loud voice has taken me all over the world, singing with legendary musicians, starring in plays, TV shows. I've used my voice to speak on stages and motivating people. And they always say, project your voice in theater. And guess what? Never been a problem for me. Always came easily and effortlessly. My smile. Hey, my smile has booked me gigs. I feel like it's my best feature. All these things that offended at the time were my greatest gifts. So I don't know. You guys have heard of shrink wrapping, right? The shrink wrap where it's not designed to keep the food fresh. Well, don't shrink wrap your gifts. Okay, this isn't going to serve you or anyone else. And so what I was doing then was shrink wrapping my gifts. So the Own It book is an invitation. It is a challenge and a call to rediscover and reclaim your personal power, your truth, your extraordinary gifts hidden deep beneath the facade of who we think the world wants us to be. Now, the facade of who we project to be to others. Yet the real project is to project your voice. Speak your truth. Stop apologizing. Stop hiding. Stop playing small. Forgive yourself. Stop shrinking. Start standing. So, growing up as a minority in a town that really wasn't kind of used to me, it formed who I was as an adult. And so where I felt I belonged when I was growing up was on stage. And this is what prompted me to become an actor. And I realize now, and I can say this in all honesty, because it was a realization and a hard realization that as much as I love acting, I believe I wanted to become an actress because I wanted to prove something. When you're bullied all throughout your childhood years, and you feel like you have something to prove. When you're told things like you're ugly, you're this, you're that, only because they don't know what you are. So they call you ugly. I always wanted to be someone else. Oh, I wish I had blonde hair. Like, I wish I had this. I never wanted to be Tiffany. But when I was on stage, I was accepted. I was, applauded. I got validation. And I needed that external validation. When I performed, I was liked. They would applaud me. Oh my God, I felt popular. And I have been seeking that validation all my life, seeking it all my life, from my parents, from the kids at school, my brothers, my teachers, but never from myself because I didn't trust myself. So why would I even believe me? So this was a profound realization and, a bit sad if you think about it, but I was aware. Oh, awareness is half the battle. So I need to check in with me, ask myself, how do you feel about this? Not how do they feel? No more seeking validation from others. I don't need anyone's approval but my own. And the ironic thing is most people need your validation too. They need you to validate them as much as you need them to validate you. Most humans were walking around on this earth longing to be loved and to love someone. And to be loved, you need approval. And in turn, you get validation. And it's all this vicious cycle until the wheel breaks and you finally realize, like, what the fuck do I care what anybody thinks of me? They're not paying my rent. So when you do that, all of that validation, love, and approval will just come pouring out to you tenfold, and it won't even phase you. Why? Because you don't need it. You're not seeking it. It's nice, but you wouldn't fall apart or without it, or feel like you're less than because you don't care about the opinions of others. It doesn't matter because you approve of you. You are happy with you. That's liberation. That's freedom. Easier said than done, yes, but that is what we all strive for. Now, one of my first chapters is owning my power. Okay, so that I'm giving you a brief synopsis of the chapters of this book. So when I lived in Orlando, Florida, I was auditioning for the role, some show that they were having out there, and they asked me. I was auditioning for a completely different show, and then they asked me. They're like, "Do you know who Storm from the X-Men is? Does anybody know who Storm from the X-Men is?" Okay, so any X-Men fans? So at the time, I didn't know who that was. Well, they pretty much offered me the role on the spot. And this was when the X-Men movie was out. It was starring Halle Berry as Storm. So I went home, I did some research, and every pic I saw online of Storm didn't look like me or Halle Berry. Storm was African with beautiful dark skin. And I remember thinking, do these people need glasses or something? Because I am way too light for this. I'm even lighter than Halle Berry, okay? But still, when they looked at me, they saw Storm. They saw a superhero. And looking back in retrospect, it wasn't even about my skin tone, but more about my essence. You know, they saw the greatness in me that I couldn't even see for myself. But in the 5 years I played Storm, not only at Universal Studios in Florida, but Marvel Comics
Actually.
and Universal Studios in Hollywood, I felt like an imposter. Even though I was literally the number one Storm for 5 consecutive years, I still felt like I didn't belong there. I would put tons of bronzer on so I could appear tanner, or whenever I interact with the park goers, I secretly felt like I was being judged, and especially by the Black folks, because I knew there weren't very many Black female superheroes for little Black girls out there to look up to. And here I was, a light skinned Black girl playing this iconic African female superhero. And I did get some comments from people sometimes, which always provoked me and put me on defense. Things like, hey, I thought Storm was Black. And I would be, I am Black in my Storm voice. But inside, it was like soul crushing because it's something I had struggled with all my life. Here I am, my Blackness. I'm not Black enough. I see, here we go again. I took it personally because it was very personal to me. And I do think that the way I was feeling on the inside, because they say your inner world is a reflection of your outer world. And I do feel like how I was feeling on the inside was being reflected back to me. If I had been owning it and fully confident in my own skin, owning the role, I really don't feel like I would have invited those comments in. But my feelings of inadequacy were magnified and therefore attracting those negative comments. And they were speaking out loud, literally what I was feeling. It didn't happen a lot, but it happened enough. So I let those negative feelings take over to the point where I couldn't even fully enjoy my job. I mean, playing a freaking superhero, that's a fun job, right? But imagine having this, cassette tape running through your head the whole time. It's not fun. I wish I could go back and talk to that girl and say, listen, you're fine just the way you are. You are enough. You are enough. But that's okay. This is all learning. So I like to look at it like you are either a doormat or the doorman or doorwoman in your life. So the difference is only one letter, that T. Yet the transformation is a series of choices. Like you're the doorman or doorwoman of your life. You decide who you let in, who stays and who goes. You also decide what beliefs you're choosing, what thought patterns, what input from others you're letting define you, and which of these you're kicking out, kicking to the curb. So the next chapter is about owning your pain. And I've always nobody likes pain. Listen, I like rainbows, sunshine, and butterflies. Okay, and so I try to avoid pain, and at least I have always tried to avoid it at all costs. Now, in 2018, I lost my mom to stage 4 lung cancer. She wasn't a smoker. She was vibrant. She was beautiful. Like came out of nowhere. It was like a wrecking ball came in and crashed through the whole family when she made that announcement. And I lost my dad 6 months later. I didn't know how strong I could be because I was very close to my parents, And but I found myself doing everything I could to numb, whether it was waking up in the morning and drinking wine or distract, immersing myself in work where I couldn't really face these feelings because I felt like if I face this, I'm going to have a breakdown. I'm going to completely fall apart and not even be able to function in life. But in actuality, when I faced it, and I'm still facing it, I'm still going through it. The grief is lifelong. You just get stronger and you learn how to deal with it more, especially when you lose somebody so close to you, two people, anybody close to you that you love dearly. But Mm. I just couldn't accept the reality that my parents were gone or that my mom left this earth suffering. I had no choice in the matter. That's the thing. I really had no choice in the matter. I couldn't make the cancer go away as much as I wanted to, and I had to accept this awful thing that I could not change, or I was going to be walking through life like a ticking time bomb on the verge of exploding. Your pain is your power. That's what I learned in this process. But we run from it, we avoid it, we resist it. Pain in life is unavoidable, but when you meet it head on and you push through it, then you can move forward. You know, how we deal with our pain, how we process our pain, how we use our pain, that's something that we can control. Oprah Winfrey, prime example of that. Someone who turned her pain into power. Like if you read about her and her troubled past, you'd be like, wow, I'm surprised she's not on the streets, homeless. Like amazing how she's turned it into power. Now she's transforming lives and making an impact worldwide. Like that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes these things happen in our lives for a reason, to get us out of our comfort zone so we can step up and own it. Like pain, loss, and trauma, it forces you to get really real with yourself, whether you like it or not. But I realized that I had been through this process on most of my life. Like when you lose people like that, when you lose your parents, take a good look at yourself. And I was like, I've been on most of my life. And then the difference between being on and owning it is when you're on, it's like you're performing. You're putting on this mask, this facade of who you think people want to see. This is who the world wants. So I'm going to be that version of me. But owning it is just being who you are, owning exactly who you are. And I don't think I had ever really been owning it. I'm not even sure I knew who I was. Even in dating, I was on in my dating life. I was being who I thought these guys wanted me to be. And then one day, this guy that I wasn't really that into, of course, he's the one I let my guard down. And he said, those times that you showed me the real you, it was beautiful. And I thought, what are you talking about? I've been the real me. But no, I wasn't. I was being on. So, Tisha, you're a realtor. I was leasing my life, but I wasn't owning it. Okay. So you've probably witnessed the joy of when people purchase a home, right? So it's a big deal. And it's accomplishment to be a homeowner, especially in freaking California, where it's expensive as all get out. Now it's one thing to rent a house, but nothing feels as good as owning that house. Well, your life is that house. The question to ask yourself is, am I renting this house? You know, I make monthly payments, I keep the grass cut, the trees trimmed, or do I own my house? Have you ever, okay, for all my ADHD people in here, have you ever been searching for your keys and they're in your hand? You're just like, where are my keys? Where are my keys? I don't know. You're looking, you can't find your keys. And they've been in your hand the whole time. Well, the keys, I like to use a lot of analogies, so just go with me here. The keys in this scenario are your power, your self-worth, who you are at the very core. You're searching everywhere outside yourself to find it, and they were in the palm of your hand the whole time. The whole time. So what I'm trying to tell you is it's time to take your keys back and open the door to your house. Okay, so can you guys humor me for a minute? Can we play a little bit?
Yes.
Because I like to get interactive. I want to get you guys involved. Is everybody with me
Yes.
still? Okay. So humor me a minute. If you could, you can either say it or you can put it in the chat. So where in your life have you been told that you're too much or not enough? Can you recall? Do you know where it started? Because I think we all have felt that.
I know I felt that a lot and I hear that a lot. People tell me all the time, God, you're too much, and I did that when I was dating, you know what I mean? More people are like, God, you're too much.
Hmm.
So that came out. But I think from the beginning, I remember what I had put in the chat, like one of my first jobs straight out of college. One of the people that I worked with that was a manager above me, an operations manager, was like, you laugh too much, you giggle too much, you smile too much, no one's going to take you seriously. And I was like, and I remember shrinking, exactly what she said. But there was another manager that I worked with was who I wanted to emulate. She was stylish, she was fun, she was outgoing and had a great sense of humor. And I'm looking at these two running the store going, wow, they were polar opposites. But I had a real hard time because I was so young. I had a difficult time embracing it and owning it back then. Now I'm like, yeah, I don't care what anyone thinks. You do to a certain extent still, but there's always a battle, but I feel a lot more comfortable in my skin and about everything that I'm doing. And I don't let anyone make me feel bad anymore. But it's
Yes.
throughout my life, definitely.
Yes, yes. And that's why I felt compelled to write this book. And so Donna, we got Donna, she says many times in my life, Naomi every day. Like this is, I'm gonna cut, this shit's real. This is real. And it can affect every single area of your life. So you said the question is, how when in your life have you been told that you're too much or you're not enough? How has this made you shrink? You said a little bit about how this has made you shrink. Ladies, how has this made you shrink? Like I
Yeah,
may
I'll
not
comment. So
comment.
with me, it was from a very young age with my mom. I never felt good enough because everything I did, she was always criticizing,
Mm,
why are you wearing your hair like that? Why are you doing this? Why are you wearing that? It was nothing I did was good enough. And so it did make me shrink because it was like, well, if I'm not good enough in my own mother's eyes, then what good am I to anyone else? Right. And so, for a long time, I kind of hid behind, it was interesting because it was kind of like this double standard. I'm a former athlete, so I grew up in the public life from a very young age. Yet I was most comfortable behind the scenes, right?
mm,
And
yeah.
so it was a very long time before I realized, why am I even doing this? Why am I trying to please someone who, no matter what I do or say, is never going to change?
Yep.
And so then it was like, it was time to, like you said, take back my power and really shine. And once I, made that decision and started heading in that direction, it was amazing to see what happened in my life, and now it's just like, oh, look out world, Callie has arrived,
Giving me chills. You're giving me
right?
chills because
But
you're
yeah,
introducing the real Callie to people. And
absolutely.
you know that quote, those that matter don't mind, and those that mind don't matter.
Right.
That's the truth. That's one of my favorite quotes in
Absolutely.
the world. So
Yeah.
people, like I said, criticism is really just their way. They're expressing to you their own lack. Whenever somebody says something to me, oh, you do this too much, I'm thinking, oh, that's their own issue.
Yeah.
Give it to them. I've learned, it has taken time, guys, but I have learned to stop taking everything so personally because you do feel like it's a personal attack. But again, the freedom is just, it's unbeatable. And it's okay if it doesn't happen overnight. You got to work on it. This is a process. And I'm giving you little cliff notes here. So you also answered, Donna, it made me second guess everything I did and people please. Yep, that's a symptom of not feeling enough. People pleasing me. I wanted to be liked. I want everybody to like me. But it's okay if some people don't like you. It's okay to not be everybody's cup of tea. And honestly, having a few haters means you've made it. Like, oh, I take it now. I take it as a compliment if somebody's not feeling me. Like, okay, oh, okay, they're feeling inadequate or something. You know what I mean? You gotta listen. This is training. You gotta train your mind to do this. So I say, how has this made you shrink, and where is the lie in it? And Callie, you were talking about where the lie was in your mother's criticisms to you.
Yeah. And it's what I find fascinating is that when you get to the point where you have that realization that it's not about you,
Yep.
right? I mean, when I finally got, and this was recent. So, I'm 50 now. So
You're
that
right.
was
I
that
don't believe you.
moment where I realized that her self-esteem was pretty much non-existent. You know, she had such low self-esteem to this day. And I felt compassion for her because
Yeah.
I said it's not about me. It was never about me. It was about her low self-esteem and her self-worth. And that's how she was lashing out, right?
Yes.
And I could see that she would do it not with me, but with everyone because that was just her way of coping, right?
Yep.
And it's amazing when you have that realization because it's like it's you break free and you're like, oh, well, now I can stand in my power. I can be, you know, who I'm meant to be. And yeah,
Yes.
it's huge. It's huge.
That's liberation, Callie. That is
Absolutely.
liberation. And we don't have to be shackled with the people's perceptions on what everyone says we should be. Oh, I can't even tell you because all my life I had been dealing with that, trying to be Black enough, trying to be this enough, trying to fit in everywhere. But all I need to do is fit in with myself. I'm not saying, oh, let's be antisocial, not have any friends, whatever. But when you love yourself, you're happy with yourself, and you know exactly who you are, you're standing in your power, it's all going to happen and flow naturally to you. Your friendships, the right friends are going to come into your life, and you're going to repel the toxic people. We don't need that. You're the doorman or doorwoman of your life. So you kick those people to the curb. But when your self-esteem is low and you're struggling to figure out who you are, you're letting just anybody in. Like the door is open. You're like, go on in. Negativity. Yeah, come on in. Just have a seat. Have a seat. Here, should I get you a drink? Are you hungry? You know, it's like you decide who and what you let in. Donna, yes, I had to learn to love myself. This is really, it all stemmed, and I don't want to sound cliche, you know, oh, love yourself. We get, everybody says that, but it just goes deeper. It goes deeper than loving yourself is part of it. But know thyself, know thyself. And I didn't know who I was. I mean, I'm in my 40s now, and I feel like I'm just now figuring it out. So but I feel like I wish I would have known these things sooner. Again, I'm young. I'm not reading self-help books. I'm not doing any of this stuff. You know, I want to go out and meet boys and all. But I think that this should be something, a course that kids should do in school to develop their sense of self-worth. I think it needs to start, in my opinion, start very young. So you talked about the lie, how it made you shrink, and what is your truth? What is the truth? So for me, my truth is all these things that I thought were offensive to people were my greatest gifts. Like they, my truth is that I am more than enough. And these things maybe were a threat to them or something that they were lacking and the wish they had. So the truth is I'm perfect just the way I am. And I'm so grateful for my big voice. And I'm grateful for my smile. And I'm grateful that I can look on the bright side of life and have joy and spread joy to others. So, all these things that have been said to you, what is your truth? What is your actual truth? So, God, I learned the truth of is how odd sees me, not others. How God sees you. Yes. Yes, that's beautiful. Anybody else? Sometimes people feel empowered putting people down. That's true. Yeah. Like when somebody is lacking in their own self esteem, they like to bring other people down with them. You know, they say misery loves company. So, but it's your choice whether you're going to go down that road or not.
When I read
So,
that, I was thinking about what my kids have dealt with when they were bullied in school, you know, and I tell them, I'm like, listen, don't let them get to you because those bullies, imagine what their life is like at home. You know what I mean? That's why they're bullying because they feel bad about themselves and they like to pull other people down. You know, it's sad but true. But when I read that, that's exactly what
like
I
these
thought.
kids that are coming up to me and mad that I'm smiling, you smile too much. That's speaking volumes right there. They are not happy. Something's going on at home where they're mad to see somebody smiling and happy. And I wasn't even necessarily happy. Like I had parents that have just gone through a divorce. I mean, I was smiling just to stay up, you know? So I do, like Callie said with her mother, really think about those people that are coming at you and saying these negative things. Think about where they're coming from. Why are they saying those? It has nothing to do with you. have almost compassion for, yeah, even if they're mean, the meanest people are the most hurt. They're broken and they want to break other people. It's sad, but true. And it's a human condition. Uh, and unfortunately, you have to protect your energy. You have to protect what you let in. Like I said, you're the key holder, you're the doorman or doorwoman of your life. So, all right, let's play a little bit more. We got some time. Okay, so I'm really enjoying this. I hope you guys are getting some of this.
Yeah, I love it.
Can everybody close your eyes? Take a deep breath and just let it out. Take another breath in and just let out all of the insecurities, the doubts, the fears. Now, go back to a place in your life where you really, truly were owning it. You were standing in your power. You knew who you were. You were owning it. I'll give you an example. For me, a moment was when I was doing my one woman show, and it's called I Never Met a Jerk I Didn't Like. I'm talking about all my exes, all this stuff. And my mom said, consider no one, kill the show. And I owned it. I wasn't needing approval. I wasn't worried about what people thought. For me, I was doing this for me. It was cathartic. And it was the most empowering feeling I have ever, standing ovation. So that's what I'm talking about. Think back in your life. Close your eyes again. So I'm just giving you an example. Everybody has a moment or moments like that. So pick the first one that comes to your mind. Feel it. How does it feel? Go back there again. Feels good, right? It feels empowering. You can smell everything. You can hear the people. You are fucking owning it. All right, now open your eyes. I can't even tell whose open eyes are closed. Now I want you to come up with those feelings that you have right now. Come up with an own it statement. Consider this like an affirmation almost. Like for me, somebody that for me, and my own it statement is I know I wait, what is my own it statement? I know, yes, I have a few. I now release the need for external validation because I love and approve of myself. So if you were to come up with an own it statement with those feelings, those empowering feelings that you came out of that, I guess, little journey I took you on, what would your own it statement be? You can either say it out loud or put it in the chat. Humor me. And then I want you to keep this.
The first thing that comes to my mind is do what you love and the rest will fall into place.
Boom. Boom. You should write that out, put it on your mirror, have it on your dashboard. And whenever you look at that, feel those feelings of empowerment for when you were owning it. And know that you can go through your whole life feeling like that. You can go through your whole life empowered. It is a choice. Who else? Does anybody else have? I would love to hear if anybody else has
Yeah, mine is dream big, dream often, and simply be yourself.
Yes, yes, that's beautiful. Simply be yourself. You know, it's simple and then it's not, right? It's almost easier said than done in a world that's constantly trying to mold you into what it wants you to be.
Yep.
It's hard to be an individual, but that's the best place to be. Take the mask off, take the facade away, and just be you. I'm telling you, everything will fall into your lap effortlessly. So if anybody hasn't thought of their own it statement, it's okay. Think on it and then write it out later and keep it with you as a reminder of owning who you are, owning your life. And I put no approval needed for the book because that is something I realized I was seeking all my life, validation and approval from other people, to the point where I thought, wow, I got into this career because I wanted approval. I wanted people to validate me. Like, for example, let me tell you how sad this is. I mean, it's good that I can talk about it because this is growth. That's growth, right? You own my mistakes, own my shortcomings. I'm owning all of it because all of it has brought me to this place now. All of this is part of my story. So I remember I would get called ugly in elementary school, and it was really, oh God, heartbreaking. I still feel like that little girl is in me who still feels she's ugly. Like I have to talk to her sometimes. Like, you're not ugly. You're not. Don't believe what those kids say. They were mean. They were jealous. They were this. But I remember when I first started getting into acting, whenever I got a role that said beautiful, it was like in my head, I told you who's ugly now, like it was like so important for me for it to be beautiful or pretty or attractive in the description of my character so that I could show all those kids that told me I was ugly and I'm not. Who's on TV? You're not, That's, as much as I love acting, and even my mom said this, I feel like the driving force for me going into the business was a need to prove myself to people, to show them, I'll show you. Crazy, right? So for a career I've done all my life, to realize, this is, I believe this is why I got into this. I would love to say I got into it for the love of acting. Yes, I love acting. But at the heart of it, at the root, I was seeking approval. Crazy. So you're going to sit down and you're going to go over things in your life. You're going to run through things and probably look back realizing, oh, wow, I think I did that because I was seeking approval. Or, oh, I think I got into this because I wanted people to like me or people please. Like if you really sit down with yourself and have a conversation, you're going to see all the areas where you didn't own it. But all the areas in your life where you have owned it are going to come up too. And I just want you to remember the feeling. Remember that feeling and know and stay in that vibration, stay in that feeling. Look at your own it statement whenever you're feeling like you don't want to own it or you feel like shrinking. Look at that statement and remind yourself of who you are. So just remember to stand tall, soldier, as my dad said. Don't shrink wrap your gifts, okay? Your pain is your power, and you are the doorman and doorwoman of your life. You're not the doormat. So choose who and what you let enter wisely. And that's it for me. Thank you so much. Thank you. If anybody has any questions or anything they want to say, it's been such an honor to talk to you guys and to share this with you. I'm sharing this with you because this is a journey I have been on and I'm still on. Even as I'm writing this book, I'm learning and growing. And it's such a it's a shitty feeling to feel like you don't belong and that you don't know who you are and that you're kind of going through your life performing and being on and being what you think people want you to be. It's disempowering. And so I don't want anybody to feel that. And I feel like it's a human condition and we all feel these things. So that's why I'm writing this, because I want to help people own who they are and their power. And it sounds cliche. I know you hear the term own it a lot, but I feel like I'm doing a different spin on it, a little, Tiffany take, and I'm giving you my own personal stories of where I didn't know who I was in my life. And this is how I'm getting to the point where I'm owning exactly who I am, where I am right now. Even the fact that I'm even owning the fact that I've been single for God knows how long. And that, I'm in my 40s and I've never been married. I don't have kids. Guess what? I'm owning it. I'm owning it. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with me. I've had a life where I've been traveling. So what? But again, people's perceptions will come into play. Oh, what's wrong with you? Oh, your friend never had no kids. Oh, I wonder what's wrong with her. Da, 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 da. Again, that's their stuff. That's all them. It has nothing to do with me.
Right.
They're projecting their own lack on me. So just remember that when somebody's trying to bring you down, that's all their own shit. I hope y'all don't mind that, cuz.
Your pain is your power. Your pain drives you too. You know what I mean? I think that
Absolutely.
that's started with this nonprofit. It's what's happening with this book. I can't wait to read your book. I think it's amazing. This is such a beautiful take on it. I love what you're doing, and I love you.
Thank
I do
you.
have a quick question, Tiffany.
Yes, Callie.
You mentioned, your parents passed away in 18. Was there a turning point in your life before that that really shifted how you view and live your life?
Well, I'm an actor and I'm in this field where it's up and down. Sometimes you're making money and sometimes you're not. And here I was in my late 30s, still kind of needing to ask my parents for help. And it was humiliating. And I knew I didn't want to be in that position anymore. And but at the same time, I still want to be an actor. I still want to do this. So a turning point for me was hitting a point in my life where I still felt dependent on others and I wasn't being the independent woman that I know I was meant to be, who I truly am at the core. So that was a massive turning point before my parents passed. And I still look back and wish I could have bought them a house or done all these things. But again, I have to own who I was when they were alive.
Right.
And I know that I brought them joy. I know that I gave them experience. For God's sake, my mom loved Michael Bolton. She got to meet Michael Bolton and go to the show. Like, there are things I may not have been able to buy her a new car or a new house or do these things, but I gave them memories that you can't take your things with you, but your memories,
Exactly.
that's forever.
Yeah.
So I had to own that, all of who I was, even if I felt like I wasn't the greatest daughter. But the lie is that was the lie, me feeling like I'm not a good daughter because I'm not doing things monetarily for my parents. That's the lie. The truth is I was a great daughter and my parents were incredibly proud of me. So
Bravo. Bravo.
thank you, Michael.
And now you can
Bravo.
embrace that. Exactly.
You have to, because you're going to beat
Yeah.
yourself up. Don't we beat ourselves up enough?
Yeah.
Man, this world beats you up enough. You don't need to beat you up.
No.
You need to be your own cheerleader, okay?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Okay. The world's trying to bring you down. You better be on team Michael or team Donna, team Karen. You know what I mean? Team Pamela. Alina, your headshot is gorgeous, by the way. I'm looking
Yeah.
at her pretty headshot. I'm like, oh, she's so pretty.
Yeah. No, this
Yeah.
is great. So important. And I think now more than ever, because we've all been sort of cocooned, right? This last year, and we're just everyone's starting to kind of come out of their little chrysalis. So it's time to become those butterflies, everyone. Own it.
Yes, own it. Woo!
Love it. Does anybody else have any questions or want to share anything?
Yeah, I got a comment. Okay.
Go for it.
So, Tiffany, first of all, just want to say thank you for your wonderful presentation. Beautifully presented and stated. And that I, as a male, can relate to much of what you said today. Uh, Number one, I am a product of a single mother who struggled really hard when I was growing up. I mean, I recall just having one set of clothes, when I was going to school. It's like, don't wear those pants out, that pair of tennis shoes, because that's all you got.
Yep.
And there was nothing like She Is Hope, and that's why I am such a backer of what Tisha is doing,
Yep.
because uh, it it's something that's needed, not just here in LA, but like there needs to be hope everywhere, like in Boston, in Chicago, everywhere, you name it.
Working on it.
And and so I really struggled growing up, uh, you know, and I have a Latin surname, but I'm actually from South America, not Mexico. And when I got here, people didn't know what to make of me either. They go like, "Oh, everybody just labeled you're Mexican." And I said, "No, I'm from Colombia." They didn't know what Colombian was, at
Mm.
that time. So that, people want to lop you or put you in a category, in a box, because that's their weakness. They by putting you in a certain category or labeling you, stereotyping you, anything like that. It's, it's that's their weakness, as you say. It Because it's like they're trying to bring you down or demean you or diminish you, but in reality, they're the ones with the problem.
Yep.
They're the
Exactly.
ones with the problem. And so, I started taking this life coaching recently, and it's helping me tremendously. And I really had to come out of a cocoon, and I started doing it really at the end of high school. I was the shyest person you would ever meet. I could never get in front of a group. I could never stand up for myself. I mean, I had to really struggle just to even make a presentation in front of an audience. And I remember being in a civics course in high school last year, and I recall I'm going to force myself to get in front of a group and make a presentation. So that's kind of like when I started to bring myself up, and I knew that I had to do it because nobody else was going to do it for me. But
Yes.
and I went into sales and became a professional salesperson because that too forced me to be in front of people
Yep.
and to speak. So not only did I have to be in front of people, but I also had to speak. And uh, and if you're going to talk about something you're promoting or selling, you need to know about it. So you better learn it.
Yep.
So that's just an example of my life struggle, and I still struggle with certain things. I'm just being candid and honest here, because you're constantly having to work on things, and I'm still working on several things. That's why I decided to take on the life coach thing, because I know that I can improve in other areas, and I'm trying to rise to another level.
Mm.
So anyways, so that's my take on what I've seen and heard today.
Well, first of all, Michael, thank you for sharing that. And I also, may I add that you, being somebody who used to be afraid of speaking or stage, you just spoke beautifully. Right. I want to point out to you that you are owning it in this moment. And what you shared was beautiful. It was transparent. It was real and vulnerable. I relate to you on so many levels. And another thing is, this is why I wrote my series, Ethnically Ambiguous, because I really, if we were all supposed to be the same race, same this, then there wouldn't be any racism, right? Like there wouldn't be, everything would just be easy, hunky dory, but we're meant to be different races, different cultures. That's what makes this world beautiful. But ignorance is what causes the racism and all the stereotypes and what are you? So a question I've gotten most of my life is, what are you? What are you? Why is what I am so important, more important than who I am? I think who I am is a little more important than what I am. But like you said, Manny, people, they want to put you in a box. There's, they say fear of the unknown. So I feel like it's like that with race and ethnicities. People, it's almost a threat when they don't know what you are, or where they can place you. For example, my brother Eric works in the prison system. He looks very Caucasian, like he's blue eyes, he's lighter than me. Like people think he's white, and he's like, no, I'm black. No problem. He could pass. That's how light he is. And it's almost as if he gets reprimanded for not coming in and saying, hey, by the way, everybody, just want you all to know I'm black. you know, like, do I need to walk around with a t-shirt saying I'm black? Why? Because they need to know how to act with you, how to be with you. Who are they going to be? Because knowing your race, then they know what they can say in front of you. For example, he's overheard them saying some racist things and he doesn't get involved. He kind of walks away, but they clearly did not realize he was African American. When they find out later, they come up to him. We didn't know you were black. Why didn't you tell us? because I didn't feel like I needed to tell you that. You never asked. What's the point? But now they're probably running through their head. Oh God, did I say something racist? Did I da 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 da? Well, why don't you take a look at yourself and not be a racist and stop saying, horrible things about people of other races, and then maybe you wouldn't have to worry about that.
Right.
So yeah, Michael, I so relate to you on many levels, and I've always wished there was, as I was growing up, I either wished I was blonde, blue eyed, just so people would know what I am, or darker skin, so that I would be more specific. But now I'm at a place where I'm like, I like me. I like me, my skin tone, my hair, all that, just the way I am. It took me a long time to get here, and I'm still working on it, Michael, because like you said, you're still working on yourself, and I applaud you for getting a coach. But yeah, we are all a work in progress, and we're going to be working on ourselves all our lives. Like there's no final ending. That's it. I've made it. I am the peak. I am evolved. Like, yeah, we get to a better place in our lives. But I think uh, when you die, that's it's like you're working on yourself to the day you die, and it's okay. It's okay. So thank you for sharing that, and I so appreciate you for that. And I so appreciate you, Tisha, Callie. Thank you for sharing. Donna, Naomi, Pamela. You guys, I get to see your faces, but I see you in the chat, and I appreciate and have love for all of you. And happy Mother's Day. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your day. Treat yourself and own it, bitches. I like to throw bitches in there for a little added oomph.
No spice. Thank you so much. This was fantastic. It was just perfect timing. Actually, it's great that it was this weekend. I think we all needed to hear this.
Oh,
So
good.
I'm so excited. Thank you for all that you do. I can't wait to hear about your book when it's done. Please keep me posted. I know you will.
I
And
will.
thank you everyone for joining us today. Have a great weekend, okay?
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Happy Mother's Day weekend.
Bye.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day, Tisha.
Thank you,
Yes.
Michael.
Happy Mother's
Bye,
Day.
everybody. Bye.
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 Bye.